the industry on multiple occasions through Hot Coffee, all these titles where we had very risque or violent things or just things that are wrong in games. Like, Grand Theft Auto has been under the gun. Rockstar has been under the gun multiple times over things like this, and I think it's ultimately just like Mad World. It brings nothing new, as Grand Theft Auto brought a lot of multitude of new things to gameplay. Mad World did none of that. You break it down to its core gameplay, it's a brawler. It's a brawler that all those crappy games like Marvel, some of those like those Marvel superhero games where you're just brawling, running around, hitting people and stuff like that. It's not really innovating anything. At least games that are, edgy, brought something new to the gameplay. Mad World did absolutely none of that.
Yeah, like also too, when you look at it, Mad World was just overall a very bad game. I mean, you know me, I'm a wonderful fan of gore. I love gore. I mean, the more gore, the better. But in some scenarios, there's just simply too much. In this case, it was not done tastefully. Let's take another very gory game. Dead Space. Dead Space was unbelievably gory. You're severing enemies' limbs off on a regular basis as a form of combat. You've got big saw blade guns and such, and you're ripping people apart, and you're getting guys sucked out into vacuums and torn apart by spatial difference. But it's done tastefully. There's not always too much, where, like, in Mad World, you're throwing guys onto spikes and leaving them there to bleed to death.
Yeah, it accentuated suffering in that game, which is really sick. I thought that was unbelievably bad in that game.
So the other thing, too, is depends on who are you killing. In, Mad World, you're killing other people. You're understanding these are humans, alright? And thus, it becomes a sort of wrong feeling, similar to, just general things when you look on the news and you see someone was murdered. You feel it's wrong inside. But when you look at Dead Space, you're fighting the necromorphers. They're human-esque, but you're told to understand they aren't human anymore, and thus it becomes okay. You begin to understand it's okay to rip them apart.
Yeah, like sometimes with games like Left 4 Dead, when it's a zombie or not a real person, it's okay, it's allowed. It's kind of some things like that. All right, I want to move this along. Finally, we have the Nintendo DS, and Nintendo is wanting to release a new design yet again for their DS platform. And the new DS is the DS XL. I'm going to get a couple images up here for you. And it's going to be the screen sizes are going to be an inch larger, and it's going to have, like a couple new different features. The stylus will be maybe a little bigger. And it's kind of this overhaul. Is this too little, maybe too late, or is this a good idea? For Nintendo, what do you think?
Well, I think this has just been a bad direction the whole time. The original DS was okay. Yes, it was a little bulky and the shape was a little odd. So I was kind of happy to see the DS Lite come out, the more sleeker,
the
slim
Lite was
design. Good. But then when you get like the DSSi, then stuff like that, now you're just taking it too far. You're taking too many versions of it. Like you have Game Boy and Game Boy Color.
I've never seen that camera incorporated in any reasonable gameplay.
Yeah, the camera options and all the little things that they add to it. It's just almost a price raising means. It's just somehow they're trying to push their technology just a bit further in order to make enough sales to last them until they can actually make something good. So I'm not a fan of the XL at the moment.
I think the XL. I think it could be a great thing. Okay. I believe it has been released in Japan, or by the time you watch this video, it's going to be released in Japan. It's coming first quarter next year, but I think it could be a great thing, because something that's plaguing the industry right now, at least for handheld, is small screens and things that are hard to see and stuff like that. So we have, the DS Lite brought a better quality screen, and now we're going to get a larger screen, which is good. What I'm really afraid of, and I think the only thing that's going to bring this down, is the resolution, which is more of a PC spec thing. If they don't reset the resolution to the size of the screen, because the games aren't going to change, you have to be able to play the DS games on any DS you bought any time during the generation. If you have a DS that's going to be a DS that has, it's going to be just your game stretched an inch, that's going to be awful. Your graphics are going to suffer from it. I think that's a bad idea.
I mean, also, too, you look at, again, the stretching, the resizing. So, of course, the first logical thing to do is, okay, we'll just, for the games that aren't rigged to be stretched out to that size, we'll just leave them a regular size. Well, all you're doing then is buying a new DS for probably a larger price than you paid for your current one for pretty much games in the same size screen. Plus, the XL no longer has the backwards compatibility. So you can only play the DS games. So I recommend just staying with whatever you have now.
There's no backwards compatibility?
Absolutely no backwards
I didn't know
compatibility.
that.
I mean, this is slowly just becoming a new thing in gaming. Just slowly we're losing the backwards compatibility, that we're forgetting the past, and that's not good. That's something important to gaming.
Yeah, the history. And that's something Nintendo really capitalized on. They brought in the Wii market. They brought in a lot of backwards compatibility.
I mean, you look at it, every once in a while, when you're done and you're tired with your new title, what do? You go back to the old classics, your best friends, the things you played back when you were in, like, elementary school.
And 64, son.
Yeah, just going back to the my top 3 games in the world are all on the Nintendo 64.
I definitely agree with that. Some great games.
It's just, we're slowly losing the past of games. I mean, what are you going to do if you can't go back and play some of your most favorite games from previous consoles?
All right, we're going to move on to our final segment, our final 2 segments. Where we're going to have our winners and our losers of the week. Each of us, Twisted and I, are going to pick a winner for the week, which is going to be someone, something, a company, a person that has made a difference, or someone that has a historical, great achievement today, and our loser, someone who really screwed up and did something really bad, or something that just is plaguing the industry. So we're Twisted, you go ahead and start. Who's your winner for this week?
My winner, quite honestly, Steam. Okay,
That's interesting.
Yes, one of the few suppliers of online downloads on a massive scale for games. They raked in the money. Almost every single game, I think, for the exception of Assassin's Creed 2, correct me if I'm wrong on that, were all offered on Steam at buying prices, and they even have sales and combo packs with it. So they're just raking in the money for the PC industry at this point. I mean, their sales were a record-breaking high this month, just from all the new releases. I mean, even some releases that you didn't think would sell that well sold pretty well on the Steam market, just because of the accessibility. You don't need to sit outside a GameStop somewhere.
GameStop's awful.
Yeah, you don't need to sit outside of your retail store or something for 3 hours waiting in line, bitter cold of November night.
Although that is half the fun sometimes.
Nah. So screw you. So you're waiting out there. It's cold. You're tired. You're waiting until 12 o'clock. The doors open. And you're all rushing in, trying to get your copies, and praying that you weren't that one guy who was just outside the line. And now there's none left for you. Now you can sit home at the comfort of your home. You're warm in bed. Maybe set your alarm clock if you want to sleep a bit before. Wake up, 12 o'clock. Go over to Steam. Download it. There it is. It's there for you. You just enter your credit card number, and it's there. You're playing already before those guys have probably even gotten home yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. And this brings up another discussion on GameStop. These games, other companies, that are retailing games. Like I guess all the retail chains, Walmart, stuff like that. But I guess GameStop's the focus because it's dedicated to it. I mean, with Xbox Live downloads, PlayStation downloads, PC on Steam, and the Wii and all this stuff, and these consoles getting hard drives bigger and bigger, and then ultimately, I mean, are we gonna miss GameStop at all in the long run? I think not. Being a hardcore PC player, I don't think I'll miss them at all, because first of all, they left PC in the dark. They don't give a rat's ass. But I think in the end, I don't think we'll miss GameStop in the least bit.
All right. So now comes our loser my loser.
Yeah.
All right. So, quite honestly, I choose Epic Games, who haven't released anything in quite a while. I mean, I think their last decent release was Gears of War 2. Unreal Tournament 3 was a bomb.
I doubt Gears of War 2 was a decent release. That was underwhelming.
Well, alright, we'll save that for another discussion. But, I mean, one of their biggest titles, one of their first sellers...
Unreal Tournament, absolutely.
Yes, Unreal Tournament 3 bombed. It did horrible. Almost a week after its release on Steam, it was $11. $11!
That's awful.
After the week's release.
That's a PC platform game, too. I mean, that was a Unreal Tournament 2004. I was playing that 6 months ago, hardcore.
It's just, they've just destroyed themselves over time. They have no more good titles released. And November, they didn't even put their feet in the water. They had nothing. So that's my loser for the year, for forever there.
All right, yeah, definitely missing out on the market. I'm gonna pick my winners and losers. My winner is going to be Nintendo.